Were the first Christians Catholic? That is the subject of this video and this book. Some say no. The first Christians were not Catholic according to some Christians. Some Protestant groups have actually hijacked the term Christian as a tag exclusively for them. This is especially true in the deep south of the USA, where you can hear people say after they have left the Catholic Church that they are no longer Catholic but Christian. Some others say no too. Some English-speaking countries support the branch theory of the Church, namely that the one Holy Catholic and Apostolic Church of the Creed is supposed to consist of three major branches: the Anglican, the Orthodox, and the so-called Roman Catholic branch. That's how they call that last branch. So the Roman Catholic Church is supposed to be something other and lesser than the Catholic Church mentioned in the Nicene Creed. However, there is no Roman Catholic Church. Nowhere in the 16 documents of the Second Vatican Council will you find the term Roman Catholic. It's an invention of certain English-speaking countries. Pope Paul VI signed all the documents of the Second Vatican Council as I, Paul, Bishop of the Catholic Church. Simply that, Catholic Church, no mention of Roman here. There are references to the Roman Curia, the Roman Missal, the Roman Rite, etc. But when Roman is applied to the Church herself, it refers to the Diocese of Rome, and not the Catholic Church. But the answer is yes. The first Christians were indeed Catholic. The term Catholic has a very old origin. The term was used as early as the 1st century by Ignatius, Bishop of Antioch. He says, "Wherever the bishop shall appear, there let the multitude of the people also be, even as whenever Jesus Christ is, there is the Catholic Church." Yes, Catholics are Christians. Given the casual way Ignatius uses the term Catholic, without any further explanation, tells us he expects his readers to know it already as an accepted term. For Ignatius, Catholic means that the Church is more than a collection of isolated and disconnected congregations. It is not a regional cult of Christians, but intended to include all people of the entire world, universal that is, Catholic. First Christians were indeed Catholic. The Greek adjective katholikos is a contradiction of kata and holos, which means about the whole or universal. With this term, Ignatius of Antioch was referring to the Church that was already everywhere, as distinguished from whatever sects, schisms and splinter groups might have popped up here and there in opposition to the Catholic Church. So Catholics are both Christian and Catholic. What kept the first Christians together? We mainly know about the first Christians through the people who gave them a voice and a compass, the Church Fathers. They were their leaders and their teachers, heirs to the apostles. They told us how these Christians could keep the faith in times of trouble, when they were besieged from two sides, by persecution from without and by heresies from within. The Church Fathers kept the Church Catholic. The Church Fathers are our testimony against the anti-Catholic belief that the original and initial Christian Church has been covered over with creeds and doctrines of mere men. Church Fathers such as Irenaeus, Clement of Alexandria, Tertullian, Athanasius of Alexandria, Basil of Caesarea, Gregory of Nyssa, Jerome and Augustine, and some others. They kept the Church together during 5 centuries of trouble, inside and outside. Some think Catholicism was a later invention. Some Christians, in the sense of Christians who distinguish themselves from Catholics, still think that the Catholic Church was the result of the Great Apostasy. Some will turn away from the faith by paying attention to deceitful spirits and demonic instructions, says St. Paul. So they claim that the date of founding of the Catholic Church was not in the 1st century, but in the 4th century, when Emperor Constantine made Christianity the official religion of the Roman Empire. The first Christians did not become Catholic later on. In this book you will find out that the first Christians are not much different from Catholics nowadays. They may not use the exact same words and wordings as Catholics do today, but their beliefs are basically still the same. We all go back to the Word made flesh, to the Jesus that the apostles and their successors, including the church fathers, have handed down to us. No, it wasn't an apostasy. Not a great apostasy, but a great myth. What connects the Nicene Creed with Jesus Christ is an impressive chain of church fathers who painstakingly followed Jesus Christ and prepared the Nicene Creed. Everything that happened before or after Constantine is kept in line by the church fathers, who faithfully held on to what Jesus had taught them. The first Christians couldn't have been more Catholic. The first Christians were Catholics. Cardinal John Newman, a Catholic convert from Anglicanism, once wrote, "The principles and proceedings of the Church now were those of the Church then. The principles and proceedings of heretics then were those of Protestants now." Steve Ray, a Catholic convert coming from the Evangelical Church, discovered during his conversion that the Protestant Reformation was not a recovery of what had been lost, but rather a radical departure from what had always been. You can find much more on this issue in the book The First Christians that you can find at www.genesispc.com/books.